Well, it's going to be a very short video because Rangers have just sacked their manager Pedro. I'm going to get this right. I am Caixinha, something like that. They've sacked him literally a couple of hours ago. He's been in charge for 7 months. Yes, they lost the semi-final in the Cup to Motherwell, and they drew with Kilmarnock. What they're saying is the board had a meeting with him, said no. And all his backroom staff have been sacked as well. The thing was, they're 8 points behind Celtic, which means they're 5 points behind Aberdeen, and now they're behind Motherwell. And he agreed a 3-year deal, so he's got 2.5 years left on his bloody deal, and that's a termination fee. And I'll go into the ins and outs of the issues that Rangers have had. And they've had 6 managers since 2001, which is not a lot by many club standards these days, by footballing standards, but considering that Celtic have had, I think, 5 managers, about a similar amount to be fair, in that time. Scottish football's in a bit of a pickle. Football's in a pickle itself. He wasn't given a chance. Yes, they lost their Europa League game to a Luxembourg side, qualifier, got knocked out. He's won 14 of his games in charge, which is not bad going for any manager in his first season to get 14 out of like 26 games won. Not a bad return rate. But you look at the Rangers side, they're not as competitive as they used to be. They're sitting 4th in the league. They have struggled to get back to where they were before their financial issues in 2008-2009 kicked and started, and then they got top points and relegated. So they're not quite at where they want to be. And the problem is there's not a lot of good young coaches, be it English, Scottish or Welsh, or Irish for that matter, coming through for this one reason. There is no job security in coaching anymore. None. And we've had another sacking yesterday or the day before at Dundee United. So Scottish football's had 2 sackings in like 2 days. English football's gone through 3 managers this season. We've had 5 managers in both Football League and Premier League in England done, and we're only at the end of October. We've only had 2 months of the season. Ancelotti's left Bayern Munich. I keep saying this video after video. We've had Strachan sacked as Scotland manager. We've had Mark Sampson sacked as England women's manager. That is a different situation with him. But nonetheless, Bruce Arena has been sacked by the USA manager. So across the Atlantic it's happening now. It's getting to the point where this managerial sacking merry-go-round is just out of control. And I could go off on a rant about football at the moment and the issues that the sport has, and there are a lot. And I've posted these videos before, and people just don't want to watch them. But they want to watch the videos when people get sacked and people get done for drugs busts and get dropped from sides when a player is in the headlines for the wrong reasons. But when like a player does some crazy stuff and brilliant stuff on the pitch, I'm finding those videos, no one's interested. But when a player retires or someone gets sacked or there's some scandal, people are a bit more interested. Fine, that's what you want to watch. We'll go with this. Rangers have had 6 managers since 2001. They have not won anything for quite a long time, and that's partly due to the fact they got kicked out of the Scottish Premier League and went down to basically the basement division in the Scottish League system. And they were docked points, and they were fined, and they had all sorts of financial problems. Fine, they've got 3 promotions, great. They've now got back into the Premier League, and they haven't kicked on. And it's not surprising. There's not the strength and depth in Scottish football. There really isn't. And the teams above them, they've been overtaken by Motherwell. They're behind Aberdeen by a long way, and Celtic are just... Those 3 teams are clearly better than them. And yeah, they finished 3rd last season, but they were a distant 3rd. Aberdeen were like 6-9 points off Celtic. which is a reasonable gap, but it's only 3 wins either way. If Aberdeen get 1 or 2 good players in and get some investment, they are quite likely to challenge. They could still challenge Celtic this season. Celtic haven't got any injuries yet. There isn't issues in that front, and that's something that's, they lost at the weekend and they were in the game for a longer period and then it got away from them. But that's one game. Aberdeen could still yet win another fixture against Celtic, and then it's gaps closed again. So Rangers are not where their competitors are, and the teams below them aren't playing badly either. It's not an uncompetitive league. It doesn't have the standard and quality of the English Premier League or the German Bundesliga. It's just not of a high enough standard. There's less teams. There's only 12 teams in the Scottish Premier League, but maybe they should consider combining the top 2 divisions of Scottish football and combining the bottom 2 divisions of Scottish football. Possibly. That's a possibility. That's one way of trying to up the quality levels. Possibly. There was an idea floated about 10 years ago that Rangers and Celtic and possibly Aberdeen, if this is when Aberdeen weren't good, but possibly Aberdeen should join the English Premier League and the English Football League system. Well, that's interesting because the nearest English club that's based in the English Football League, 2 nearest clubs are Carlisle, who are in, I think, League 2 at the moment, and have been as high as League 1, but League 2, and Newcastle United. That's their nearest local rivals, so to speak. And with the history of football, with fans, well, I say fans as a loose term, kicking off, it's not going to work. And now looking at the fact that Rangers have hit such financial problems and Aberdeen and Celtic are stable, but that's about it. They don't have the financial depth and the wealth to actually, the travel costs will kill them. And I don't think that was a stupid idea, but it was an idea brought up because of the lack of competitiveness in the Scottish League system. Only 3 sides have won the Scottish top tier since the mid-80s: Aberdeen, Celtic and Rangers. So there is a problem with other sides getting their hands on silverware and mixing up a bit. Other leagues have had a lot of teams go through. Some teams are very dominant. If you go across the Atlantic and you look at the New England Patriots in American football, they're quite dominant. They're always getting into the playoffs. You look at the Edmonton Oilers in the 80s, they won 4 in a row. You look at the Islanders, and also in the 80s, they won quite a few Stanley Cups. And that's an ice hockey. You look at the Pittsburgh Penguins now, to get 2 in a row is dominant with the way the league is gone. And the salary cap. You look at Test cricket. Until 2005, the Ashes was dominated by Australia for a long time. Now we're starting to dominate it. We're not winning every series, but we're winning more than we're losing. So you look at sports dominance, certain periods of time, one team or a couple of teams will dominate a league. And with Scottish football, it's been 3 teams have been on the top, consistently in the top 3 for nearly on 30 years. With the odd exception of Motherwell and Hearts and Hibs poking their noses into that top 3. It's going for a couple of seasons and then disappearing again. So unless some people come in with some real investment and they restructure the Scottish League to basically make it a 2-tier system, and they combine the 2 top and the 2 bottom leagues as a suggestion, plus the fan bases are circled around certain areas in Scotland. The Glasgow-Edinburgh area, that borders belt, and a bit around Aberdeen and Fife. The Highlands have got Inverness and Ross County, but they're not doing so well. They're not in the Premier League at the moment, and Wraith Rovers, they're up there, and then it's just there's only certain areas, radius, where there's football depth. So I don't know, but Rangers going into their now 7th manager, and for Rangers that is a lot of managers. It's not good. So I don't know where Rangers go from here. I've gone a bit off topic, but there are issues in Scottish football that need to be addressed, and the way football's going, football needs to address a lot of issues worldwide, not just in the UK, but across the world at the moment. There's issues of corruption and tax evasion and criminality and organised crime and match fixing, and these are not going away. None of these rumours and these issues are going away anytime soon, and no one seems to have the guts to actually stand up and go, this is wrong. I'm going to leave that there. Please like and subscribe. Please leave comments in the below, and I'll have another video for later on.